is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about the Java loops. And basically, we have seen actually the Java for loops. Actually, we have got five types of Java for loop. We have got what you call a simple for loop. We have a nested for loop. We have what we call a for each loop, a label for loop, and finally we had what you call the infinite for loop. Today we are going to take up actually the second type, that is the Java nested for loop. We are going to look at its definition, its syntax, and basically its implementation. Now let's just start actually and see actually what is this Java a nested for loop. So a nested for loop, actually it is the same thing as the simple for loop. However, the nested for loop is when a for loop is inside the body of another for loop. So basically we are saying a nested for loop is whereby we have got up a for loop inside another for loop body. So that is actually what we mean by a nested loop. And basically it will this particular the inner loop. So here we have got two loops. The inner loop will be executed completely until the condition it is false, and then it will go back to the outer loop actually to execute. And into that actually takes us to the syntax. And basically the syntax of a for loop, the nested for loop, is very simple. Here you have first of all the for loop itself. So you have got for, and then here we have what you call the initialization, and then we have got the condition, and then we have got either the incrementer or the decrementer, and then we have got opening and the closing curly bracket. So inside here, this particular body will have actually another for loop. So here we'll have also another for loop. So it will be for, and then we'll have our condition, the initialization, we'll have our condition, and we'll have our incrementer and decrementer. And here we'll have a statement, and then, so this is a for loop inside another for loop. So that will be actually basically what we're talking about here. Now we want actually to use this particular for loop actually to implement it into our Eclipse IDE by making up a pyramid. So we want to make up a pyramid, and that particular pyramid will have maybe an asterisk, and then two asterisk, and then three asterisk, and then we'll have a four asterisks, and then we'll have our five asterisks. So we'll have a pyramid which looks after like that. So let us see how this particular logic can be done before we go actually and implement it on the other side. So basically here, if we're having actually here, I'll say up 4, and I'll have maybe int I, I'll put it actually to 1, and then basically I'll terminate, and then I'll say maybe I, it is less than equal to 5, and then I plus plus. So this is my outer loop. So my inner loop, basically I can say it in a very simple manner, that I'll have 4, and then here I'll have my int j. So I and j I'll put equals to 1 again, and then I'll say my actually here I'll say my j should be actually less than or equal to I, and I'll say my j plus plus. And then here basically I want to print up my asterisk. So I'll say system.out.println. Now I print up an asterisk. So here I'll print up my asterisk, and then I'll close this particular loop. Now I've not closed up the outer loop. So on the outer loop, basically I can put up actually to create up a new line, because after printing this, I have to move on and print up a new line. So I'll go on and on and on to printing up a new line until I reach up actually the end, and then I get up this particular one. So here I can put up now by system dot out dot print ln. Just I don't want to print anything, just print up a new line, and then I execute, and then I end up that. So basically the logic will be very simple. If here we have got the outer loop, and here we have got the inner loop, and here we have got what we call our output. So if the outer loop actually it is 1, if the outer loop it is 1, it comes to the inner loop and executes and check first of all, and check if actually 1, it come up and check up here to execute the inner loop. The inner loop here we are going to ask up ourselves, is 1 less than j? Yes. So here our inner loop also becomes actually 1, and then comes up to print up this. So it will print up this. When now it will keep on illustrating and say 2 is actually 2 less than that, so it won't print. So this one will print, this one won't print. It will go on to 3, 3 it won't print, 4 it won't print, and 5 it won't print. And then now it will go back and actually go now to the outer loop, and in the outer loop we'll have it as 2. Now it will come up and check. It's actually check here about 2. So it will go and see, and then actually it will print only. It will only print. So after this, it will only print actually 1 and 2. So we'll have here 1 and 2. And then to move on to 3, it will only print 1, 2, and 3. It will move to 4, printing 1, 2, 3, and 4. Move up to 5, printing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in each iteration, it will put up a new line, and this new line it will actually move from here, from this row to the next row. So another new line move from this row to another row, and row to another row, and row to another row. So that is how it's going to work. So basically, let's go to Eclipse and see actually how we can implement up actually the same. So here, basically, we are going to have our for loop. So in that particular for loop, basically we are saying int I should be given up a value of 1, and that particular I should be actually less than or equal, or less than or equal actually to 5, and then we are going to increment our I plus plus. So this is the outer loop. So this is the outer loop. So in the outer loop, inside we are putting up an inner loop. So an inner loop, basically, how will it look like? We say 4, and then we are putting up our int j this time, and we are giving up also the value of 1. However, we are saying our j actually should be less than or equal to I, and onto that we are saying j plus plus. So onto that particular area now, we are moving up inside the inner loop, and inside the inner loop, this is what we want to write. Basically, we are saying system dot out dot print. What are we printing? Actually, we are printing basically what we are printing. What we are printing only dot print. What are we printing? Inside it, we are just printing actually the asterisk. We are just printing up the asterisk, and we leave up a small space. So basically, that's what we are going to do. And then on the outer loop, again, we want to print up a line only. So we say system dot out dot print ln. And what are we printing up? We are just printing up an empty line. So basically, that is how it's a very small program, but let's run it and see actually what is the outcome out of it. So we have seen actually what it has done. It has printed actually our pyramid, and that particular pyramid, basically it is this particular explanation how actually we can build up a pyramid using a nested loop. So for that, we come up to the end of this particular session until on to our next session, whereby we are going to talk about the for each loop. And for now, I say bye, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.